The insights I am about to reveal dwell in a fascinating twilight zone, somewhere between deeply concealed secrets and universally understood truths. This profound wisdom has stayed obscured for a specific purpose. It was never intentionally hidden from your grasp. Rather, your awareness simply needed time to mature enough to embrace it. That time is now. You are pure awareness, exploring its own existence within a physical body. And recognizing this single fact alters the fabric of your entire world. Introduction. Centuries before human words sliced existence into fragmented labels, certain individuals grasped a monumental concept. The universe is not a rigid cage holding you captive. Instead, it operates as an intelligent, breathing matrix of energy that interacts with its own nature by using you as a conduit. Those early sages never drafted step-by-step guides or built inflexible dogmas. They communicated through quiet metaphors and ancient myths, narratives pointing to a majestic force integrated directly into the core of your conscious mind. Today, you find yourself at this exact gateway, not merely to gather more data, but to recall a reality your soul has always recognized. The concept, popularly known as the law of attraction, is far more than a trendy self-improvement tactic used to manifest material possessions. It serves as the foundational heartbeat of the cosmos. It is the unseen frequency where pure thought solidifies into physical matter. It flows constantly, much like a subterranean river of illumination, containing the master plans for every conceivable timeline. Every single idea you entertain sends dynamic waves throughout the quantum web. Every feeling you generate carves out the exact contours of your upcoming reality. The wisdom you are about to absorb cannot be found in traditional textbooks or rigid religious sermons. It is already deeply programmed within your personal energy signature. Every principle shared here serves as a gateway. Every breakthrough is an energetic calibration, tuning you into the profound machinery of the universe's true operations. The narratives threaded throughout this journey are active, energetic codes, specifically crafted to wake up whatever has been sleeping inside your mind. You may have hunted for solutions across countless avenues, gurus, literature, rituals, and philosophies, yet the ultimate truth has continuously resided within your own breath. In the silent gaps between your mental chatter lies an endless, uncharted expanse. This is the energetic incubator of infinite possibilities, a space where your awareness molds the physical world with a level of accuracy that your logical brain cannot possibly comprehend. We are not speaking in poetry here. This is the literal physics binding our cosmos. The insights you are downloading right now were never actually banned from you. They were merely pausing, waiting for the precise era when human attention would pivot back to the internal world. Now, as the illusion of division melts away and our collective mind broadens, these revelations ascend, like primordial constellations reappearing in the night heaven. They are eternal, radiant, and deeply recognizable to the aspect of your soul prepared to perceive them. The following words are not meant as a tutorial. They are a rite of passage, a complete unmasking of the divine gears operating beneath every single thing you observe. Every sentence holds a specific vibration. Every realization unlocks a new portal. Walk boldly through it and reclaim a strength that was never truly lost, just temporarily ignored. Before we plunge any further, pause for a second and type this phrase in the comments below. I am ready. Allow this to act as your beacon to the quantum web, signaling your active choice to witness what has always been resting right in front of you. Part 1. The Invisible Framework of Existence. Chapter 1. The Uncompromising Mirror. In a tranquil village where the dawn cast golden rays over weathered cobblestone pathways, a woman named Evelyn positioned herself in front of an antique looking glass every single morning. She continuously chanted positive mantras, yet they echoed with a hollow resonance within her heart. Her dreams of prosperity and purpose remained agonizingly distant, appearing much like distant galaxies visible to the eye, yet impossible to grasp. Then, on one fateful sunrise, as she rested her hands on the chilly surface of the pane, a sharp splinter abruptly tore through the glass. During this instant of apparent destruction, A profound realization finally locked into her mind. That sudden fissure in the reflection uncovered a vital truth. The antique glass was never the broken thing requiring a fix. Rather, it was her own shattered self-image that needed mending. The cosmos functions according to an absolute, unyielding rule. The physical world around you does not project the desires you voice or the wishes you make. Instead, it mirrors the precise, energetic frequency of your most subconscious, deeply rooted beliefs about who you are. If your mouth proclaims success but your internal wiring quietly hums with feelings of lack, the universe will always answer the louder, more dominant vibration. This explains why merely reciting what you want without truly feeling it in your bones produces zero results. The grand reflection of life pays no attention to your verbal declarations. It only reacts to your state of being. The turning point for Evelyn occurred the moment she abandoned her efforts to manipulate her outside conditions. Instead, she dedicated herself to nurturing an entirely new internal resonance. Her daily routine transformed. She traded meaningless vocal chants for the authentic, bodily sensation of her dreams already being realized. Instead, the reflection started unveiling her true identity, unfolding right in the middle of her transformation. Miles away in a separate valley, a tiny bird repeatedly slammed into an invisible glass pane, wearing itself out trying to access the open sky mirrored on its surface. The extreme transparency of the barrier turned it into a cage simply because it could not be seen. This illustrates how our most genuine aspirations can restrict us until we grasp that progress doesn't demand harder pushing, but rather a modification of our perspective. Your day-to-day existence acts as an exact looking glass, displaying the total accumulation of your mental patterns, feelings, and inner convictions with flawless precision. Grasping this process grants you the ultimate tool for personal evolution. Real power doesn't come from forcing alterations upon the reflection itself. It stems from shifting into the exact character you wish to observe looking back at you. Ancient practice. When twilight blankets the day, recline in absolute stillness. Close your eyes and visualize your reflection, not within any material glass, but inside the mirror of existence itself. Observe this energetic reflection shining back at you, illuminated by the complete realization of your deepest wishes. Keep this vision as your final conscious thought before falling asleep, knowing that tomorrow's reality is forged by the imagery you hold tonight. Chapter 2. The Frequency Underneath Language. Ancient philosophical records speak of Henry, an earnest explorer who discovered that spoken words possess zero creative force on their own. Each morning he stood beside his window, projecting wealth and prosperity into the dawn with unwavering conviction. His speech was immaculate, borrowed directly from top manifestation teachers. Yet, his external world remained completely frozen, as though the cosmos were entirely deaf to his voice. The universe, in its boundless wisdom, ignores the poetry of your words. It responds exclusively to the inner song you project. Your intellect might voice one narrative, while your emotional center broadcasts an entirely conflicting signal. This triggers a vibrational contradiction that renders the law of attraction ineffective. Whenever Henry spoke of financial freedom, his stomach tightened with anxiety. Whenever he affirmed love, his chest felt heavy with isolation. His words drifted upward while his emotional energy plunged downward, trapping him in a spiritual deadlock. This brings us to the core rule. The cosmos reacts to your vibrational frequency, much more than your chosen vocabulary. Comparable to a skilled instrumentalist, you must tune your entire internal system rather than just memorizing a tune. Your emotions act as strings that, when plucked, transmit waves straight into the universe's creative fabric. Consider the vintage radio hidden inside a mountain sanctuary. A young novice spent days attempting to tune into sacred broadcasts. Static filled the device whenever the dial rested between frequencies, one channel roaring with anxiety and noise, the alternative humming with crystal clear wisdom and serenity. No matter how flawlessly he recited sacred mantras, the disruption persisted until he learned to calm his own inner frequency first. Only when his heart achieved tranquility did the clear channel emerge, transmitting the precise guidance he sought. This mirrors your personal dynamic with the law of attraction. Just like that radio, you must harmonize your emotional wavelength with your verbal statements. When panic produces static within your energetic signature, even the boldest declarations vanish into background noise. Conversely, when your feelings synchronize with your declarations, reality has no choice but to mirror that coherence. Sacred practice. The resonance of your being. Retire to a quiet sanctuary, free from interruptions. Sit comfortably, take 3 deep breaths, and let your consciousness settle deep inside your physical form. Now, utter your name aloud, slowly and with deliberate focus. Notice how the sound travels through your chest, echoes in your throat, and alters your emotional climate. Repeat your name, permitting its vibration to completely saturate your system. This is how the universe perceives your energy, not as a human language, but as a raw frequency. Notice the contrast between voicing words strictly from your throat versus speaking from your entire physical vessel. This precise alignment of sound and emotion serves as your compass for true manifestation. Chapter 3. The principle behind all principles. Amidst a bustling bazaar, a woman named Clara browsed among merchants, collecting amulets and crystals believed to bring luck. With arms full of stones and a neck draped in protective charms, she drifted into a modest tea house. Inside sat an elderly woman whose gaze seemed capable of piercing through time itself, gesturing for Clara to join her. "You hunt for countless laws," the woman remarked, pouring hot liquid into an earthenware mug, "when only a single law truly exists: awareness." Steam drifted upward between them as Clara's bundle of stones clicked softly against the wooden table. The elderly guide elaborated. "Creation relies on one solitary function. Whatever your mind accepts as absolute truth will inevitably materialize around you. Your convictions are not merely lenses shaping your worldview. They are the very blueprints building your physical surroundings. This fundamental concept is the beating heart of all mystic traditions, every practice, and every cosmic law. What you consciously acknowledge dictates what you live. Once this sinks in, you understand that luck cannot be reeled in by physical trinkets. Instead, it naturally blossoms from a properly tuned consciousness. Far in the eastern highlands runs a playful creek frequented by local children. Here, a little girl named Maya effortlessly embodied this rule without even realizing it. While her peers meticulously strategized their jumps between rocks, Maya casually strolled forward. Every step she took met solid earth exactly when required. It looked as though the submerged rocks elevated themselves to meet her soles, reacting directly to her absolute confidence. Onlookers might assume she relied on blind faith, yet Maya was doing no such thing. She was flowing in perfect sync with an invisible rhythm she inherently relied upon. Her internal focus was so solidly locked onto a secure crossing that reality was forced to oblige. This beautifully illustrates how the mind sculpts the material plane. Attention is never a passive act of watching. It is your active brushstroke on the canvas of life. The moment you accept a concept as factual at your core, the cosmos immediately rearranges itself to project that truth into your tangible environment. The gems and trinkets Clara had gathered were not entirely worthless. They functioned as focal points for her mind. However, without realizing that her own attention was the true generator of magic, those objects were merely empty decorations stripped of any real transformative power. You have likely experienced this yourself. Once your mind latches onto a specific concept, be it a fresh chance, an answer to a problem, or a meaningful coincidence, it suddenly pops up everywhere. This is far from accidental. It is the physics of attention playing out. Your mental spotlight unlocks the door, allowing potential to cross over into physical existence. Genuine magic never resided within the rituals or artifacts. It was forever rooted in the psychological shifts those items inspired. Comprehending this hands you the ultimate master key for intentional living. Every spiritual doctrine is merely a unique spin on this core mechanic, and every ritual simply serves as an alternate threshold leading to the identical truth. Sacred practice. The next step, prior to making a major choice, Carve out a sliver of total silence. Shut your eyes and softly speak this phrase with profound conviction. I allow my inner vision to illuminate the path forward. Absorb this statement into your flesh, rejecting any sense of desperate hoping. Claim it instead as a confirmed reality. Afterward, navigate your daily routine with a highly receptive gaze. Pay close attention to subtle nudges, meaningful overlaps, and sudden symbols. These occurrences lack any randomness. They represent the universe conversing with you via real-world events. They are the magical rocks lifting from the water, safely guiding your progression. Chapter 4. The Emotional Barometer. Deep within a sprawling metropolis driven by an endless current of ambition, a professional named Vera gazed out from her high-rise window. Though wrapped in prestigious accolades, she felt an unsettling void. Every milestone she conquered provided a brief spark of triumph that instantly evaporated, leaving behind a consistently expanding numbness. On paper, her existence was the ultimate template of modern success, but inner tranquility was nowhere to be found. The cosmos communicates predominantly through sensations. Ancient wisdom indicates that our feelings are far more than psychological responses to daily dramas. They are celestial navigational beacons, steering you closer to or further from your supreme destiny. The moment you encounter bliss, thrill, or serenity, you are being handed a cosmic receipt, proving you are aligned with your true calling. Conversely, when dread, irritation, or hollowness surface, they are not universal penalties. They are gentle, protective detours. View your internal mood as a divine astrolabe, constantly locked onto your authentic northern star. Every single emotion acts as a highly sensitive gauge, indicating whether you are expanding into greatness or shrinking into limitation. From this perspective, painful feelings transform into trusted friends, aggressively pointing out exactly where you need to pause and recalibrate your focus. Tucked away in an isolated alpine settlement wandered a nomad named Alexandra, a woman entirely stripped of her direction. Buried in her rucksack was a peculiar navigation tool. This device would spin erratically whenever she walked trails dictated by societal pressure. For years, she disregarded its frantic warnings, pushing herself down normalized roads that only resulted in exhaustion and profound bewilderment. One dawn, as the first rays grazed the alpine summits, clarity struck her. The device wasn't malfunctioning. It was simply ignoring magnetic north to lock onto her authentic purpose. Just like Alexandra's revelation, your internal emotional barometer is flawlessly designed to highlight your genuine path. Whenever you experience a sense of shrinking, burden, or friction, you have strayed from your core truth. Conversely, when a profound sense of buoyancy, spaciousness, and serenity floods your system, you are stepping perfectly in time with your soul's intelligence. If these concepts are awakening something within you, pause to like this video and subscribe to the channel. This is more than a simple connection. It is a way to anchor yourself in this elevated frequency as we journey deeper into the mysteries of consciousness. In this grand cosmic ballet, your feelings are never hurdles to conquer. They are holy markers, lighting your route, the exact vocabulary the cosmos uses to usher you toward your ultimate evolution. Sacred practice. The morning calibration. Upon waking, before the rush of daily obligations invades your mind, sit in absolute stillness. Rest your hand over your heart and pose a simple question. Do I feel open or closed today? Allow the response to surface organically, free from self-criticism. Permit this internal gauge to dictate your decisions. Chase the avenues that feel expansive and pivot away the moment you detect inner restriction. This ancestral technique, preserved by generations of mystics, effortlessly synchronizes you with the universe's inherent rhythm. Chapter 5. Desire as a divine dialogue. At the edge of a dense woodland resided Ruthie, a caretaker who poured her energy into everyone else while her own ambitions gathered cobwebs in the neglected chambers of her mind. Whenever a thirst for something greater, be it exploration, prosperity, or artistic freedom bubbled up, she immediately crushed it, labeling such urges as greedy, unworthy, or spiritually unevolved. However, your longings are never arbitrary glitches or mundane greed. They are the cosmos actively conversing through your vessel. When a deep craving stirs within your spirit, you are literally feeling the boundless energy of creation attempting to manifest in a fresh way. Just as the sea inevitably generates rolling waves, the infinite cosmos generates desires inside you to facilitate its own expansion. The passion surging through your veins is identical to the cosmic power that orchestrates galaxies and blooms spring flowers. It is simply that exact power channeled into your specific identity. To suppress your yearnings is to battle the central current of existence. Your grandest visions are never too much. They are custom-fitted to the exact soul capable of realizing them. Those who conditioned you to fear your ambitions completely missed their holy origins. They mistook the pure, creative spark for the ego's desperate hoarding. Authentic longing feels like a breath of fresh air. It feels like impending joy and wings ready to take flight. It never diminishes others. Instead, it elevates everything in its vicinity. Consider a minuscule seed buried under heavy layers of decaying leaves beneath ancient cedar trees. It never judged its desperate craving for sunlight or its instinct to push upward. That seed's craving was the voice of its own destiny, a raw biological intelligence waking up inside its casing. Throughout the freezing, dark winter, this singular urge kept it alive, directing its upward journey until it finally broke ground into the warmth of spring. Much like that tiny seed, your personal cravings carry the architectural plans for your future self. The cosmos buries aspirations inside your chest with the same certainty that it drops seeds into the earth. Your job is not to analyze or condemn these feelings, but to fiercely protect and nourish them. Trust that the identical intelligence organizing the constellations is also organizing the deep wants of your soul. When you treat your ambitions with deep respect rather than desperate attachment, you merge directly with the foundational engine of the universe. Your dreams are not accidental fantasies. They are divine blueprints pulling you toward your ultimate masterpiece. Sacred practice. The architecture of longing. Every evening, as the sky dims into twilight, settle into a state of quiet reflection. Place a hand over your heart center and consciously recognize 3 distinct desires that naturally bubble to the surface. Vocalize them softly, not as frantic demands or begging, but as a calm acknowledgement of the cosmic energy flowing through you. This is not a ritual of begging. It is an exercise in profound listening, a way to respect the intimate conversation occurring between your individual spirit and the boundless universe. Allow your dreams to be witnessed, understanding that they are simply the universe, discovering new ways to experience itself through you. Chapter 6. The Elegance of Letting Go. Amidst a bustling bazaar, a woman named Louisa clutched her vision diary as if it were armor, rigidly tracking every timeline and checklist. Day after day, she gauged her success against a strict set of expectations, becoming increasingly aggravated whenever reality deviated from her precise script. The more desperately she tried to dictate the results, the faster they slipped through her grasp like dry sand. This is the blind spot for most. Cosmic mechanics are infinitely more complex than basic cause and effect. By attempting to micromanage every single aspect of your desires, you inadvertently generate resistance. This energetic friction clogs the natural river of prosperity. The blockage doesn't stem from what you want, but from the false assumption that creation requires strain and manipulation. Universal laws react to your internal vibration, not your physical hustling. When your mind is knotted with worry and obsessive plotting, you are actually transmitting a frequency of scarcity. You are broadcasting to the cosmos, "I must force this to happen because I do not trust the universe's timing." This exact skepticism constructs a thick wall between you and your goal. Visualize your dreams as entirely finished blueprints already existing in the quantum realm. Your task isn't to violently drag them into the physical world. Your job is simply to let them unfold along the path of least friction. Boundless universal intelligence perceives networks and opportunities far beyond your human sight. It can arrange events with a level of genius that your most meticulous strategies could never match. Along the edge of a timeless ocean dwelt an elderly fisherman named Xavier. Every day, he hurled his heavy nets, battling the fierce tide with all his physical strength. Yet, he pulled up nothing but seaweed. His muscles ached, and his frantic efforts seemed to actively repel the ocean's bounty. Finally, broken by fatigue, he simply loosened his hands and let the net drift. To his shock, as the mesh floated peacefully with the tide, it quickly overflowed with silver fish, attracted to the gentle, unforced sway of the ropes. This profound truth ripples through the ages. Whatever you are hunting is also hunting you. Xavier's yielding was never a failure. It was absolute harmony. By dropping his relentless need to dominate the waters, he permitted natural currents to serve him. The catch had always been nearby. His frantic splashing had simply scared it off. When you stop obsessing over the when and the how, you carve out a vacuum for the cosmos to deliver its masterpiece on its own schedule. This process is not lazy idleness. It is a state of active receptivity. You maintain crystal clarity about your goal, while remaining entirely adaptable about the method of arrival. Observe a blooming lotus. It does not sweat or panic. It simply faces the daylight and opens its petals to absorb. Its expansion is guaranteed not through violent effort, but through absolute harmony with natural physics. Your own desires will materialize with that exact same effortless grace the moment you learn to trust the machinery of the universe. Sacred practice, the act of surrender. Seek out a tranquil corner where silence reigns. Ease into a relaxed posture and pull in 3 grounding, deep breaths. With every outward sigh, envision the heavy armor of control melting off your skin. Now, picture the specific dream you have been wrestling to manifest. Instead of calculating your next move, quietly declare to yourself, it is already taken care of. Soak in the massive wave of peace that washes over you as you drop the heavy backpack of micromanagement. Transform this profound relief into your daily devotion, a silent offering to the quantum field. Whenever you catch yourself slipping back into the trap of forced effort, anchor yourself with these words and that sensation of release. This is not surrendering your dreams. It is upgrading to a superior intelligence that already holds the map to your destination. Now, here is a fascinating reality. Nearly half of the people absorbing this message right now will mentally agree, yet they will completely fail to embody it. They will return to pushing, grasping, and fighting reality. If you are genuinely prepared to break that exhausting cycle, if you are ready to float with the current instead of battling the rapids, I need you to take action right this second. Drop into the comments and type this exact phrase: I release control and trust the flow. This is not mere internet engagement. This is a vocal contract with the fabric of reality. This is you actively shattering an old paradigm. Do it right now. Chapter 7. The Holy Blueprint of Imagination. In a courtyard painted with golden sunlight, an artist named Nora sat with a sketchbook and charcoals. She wasn't just doodling idle fantasies. She was literally drawing her future into existence. With every deliberate pencil stroke, she injected her profoundest passions into the parchment: a tranquil villa staring down the ocean waves, a bustling sanctuary for healing, lush botanical spaces practically vibrating with life. As her hand moved, a miraculous phenomenon began to happen. The illustrations started to hum with a palpable frequency, projecting energy back into her body, as if they were celebrating their impending birth into the physical world. This beautiful ritual highlights a core pillar of cosmic creation. Your mind's eye is not a playground for pointless daydreams. It serves as the vital architectural bridge, connecting invisible potential with solid, touchable reality. When you engage your imagination combined with intense emotion, you boot up a dynamic interface, bridging the gap between pure consciousness and actual reality. Every scenario held firmly in your mind's eye functions as a mold in the quantum sphere, magnetically pulling the necessary physical components to complete its design. The cosmos does not initially react to your spoken words or your physical hustle. It answers to the vivid cinema playing inside your head. When these mental images are constantly fueled by deep emotional resonance, they morph into powerful magnetic transmitters, literally dragging their physical equivalents into existence. This explains why fleeting, casual daydreams almost never materialize. They lack the concentrated, sustained voltage required for deliberate manifestation. In the historic metropolis of Kashan, a visionary architect named Hassan spent his nights engulfed in mental blueprints of awe-inspiring monuments. While his peers waved off his intricate visions as foolish fantasies, Hassan knew better. Every single night, he plunged himself into a fully sensory experience. He mentally strolled through his unbuilt palaces, sensing the icy chill of marble floors underfoot, listening to the rhythmic splashing of courtyard fountains, and observing the delicate dance of sunlight filtering through complex latticework. Decades later, travelers began returning with rumors of breathtaking new monuments being erected in faraway territories, structures that mirrored, brick for brick, the exact designs Hassan had first constructed solely within his imagination. His mental architecture successfully crossed the chasm from invisible thought into solid stone, cementing the rule that the unseen dimension always dictates the visible one. This narrative echoes an immortal law. Whatever you fiercely maintain in your awareness must eventually seek a physical outlet. The material world we touch is simply the final exhaust pipe of a creative engine that fires up in the realm of limitless potential. But here is the massive distinction that changes the game. The majority of humanity visualizes from a state of desperation, from the mindset of, "I desperately need this." Hassan did not view his palaces as absent realities. He occupied them. He paced their corridors. He accepted them as already real. That is the stark contrast between a childish fantasy and authentic, reality-bending visualization. Sacred practice. Sculpting through feeling. Locate a private sanctuary where interruptions cannot reach you. Shut your eyes and completely discard the urge to visualize specific material objects or exact scenarios. Instead, submerge yourself entirely into the core emotion you are chasing. Whether that feeling is ultimate serenity, massive wealth, or unconditional love, wrap yourself in it. For 5 unbroken minutes, occupy this emotional state as if your goal has already been achieved. Let that sensation flood every fiber of your nervous system. Do not force the feeling. Just permit your body to become the physical anchor for that exact emotional state. The universe will automatically handle the logistics, delivering the perfect physical circumstances to match the vibration you are broadcasting. Chapter 8. The Quantum Physics of Gratitude. Perched high in an alpine retreat, Beatrice meticulously scribbled out her daily gratitude lists, following the strict protocols laid out by countless self-help gurus. Yet, with every forced sentence she penned, a heavy darkness settled over her chest. The words felt like empty shells, lifeless mantras that sparked absolutely zero joy. When you attempt to manufacture gratitude out of obligation, you instantly generate a wall of resistance blocking the very prosperity you are trying to welcome. Authentic appreciation is fluid. It moves effortlessly like a river seeking the ocean. It cannot be dictated or squeezed out through sheer willpower. The universe is entirely blind to the ink on your paper. It only reads the energetic pulse you are emitting. When thankfulness erupts organically from your core, it transforms into an immense magnetic force, exponentially multiplying the exact things you are celebrating. This is the hidden machinery behind true wealth. It is never about mathematically tallying your blessings, but about allowing a natural, overflowing sense of awe to take over. An ancient nomad once recounted the legend of Sophia, a brilliant musician whose compositions had suddenly gone sterile. Night after night, she aggressively tuned her lute, cranking the pegs until the strings were on the verge of snapping. Her performances were technically flawless, yet they left her listeners completely numb. One twilight, resting beneath a canopy of stars, Sophia simply started humming, moved by the sheer majesty of the night sky. As she instinctively picked up her lute, her energy had completely shifted. Rather than wrestling the instrument into submission, She let pure appreciation guide her hands. The melodies she unleashed that evening shattered hearts and awakened souls. She realized that profound harmony is never achieved through brutal tension, but through soft appreciation. This ancestral parable highlights a massive revelation. Gratitude is not a chore to be mastered. It is an energetic wavelength to inhabit. When you synchronize with sincere appreciation, you turn on a frequency that magnetizes even more scenarios worthy of celebration. It acts as the energetic skeleton key, throwing open the gates to elevated planes of existence. Your thankfulness doesn't require grand gestures or poetic speeches. The tiniest spark of genuine awe possesses far more creative voltage than 1,000 empty thank yous spoken out of duty. A split second of real appreciation sends shockwaves through the quantum web, paving wide highways for incoming abundance. Here is a blunt truth most mentors skip over. Faking gratitude actively damages your manifestation. It causes your energy field to tightly contract, a signal the universe instantly interprets as deep scarcity. Genuine gratitude stretches you open. It makes you expansive. You can physically feel the shift in your nervous system. The practice, as you unwind before sleep, bring to mind one tiny, delightful detail from your day. It could be the heat of the sun against your skin, the crispness of a glass of water, or the spontaneous laugh of a child. Allow this simple memory to wash over you naturally, without forcing the emotion. Then, with your eyes gently shut, whisper a single word: enough. Notice how this one word, when coupled with authentic appreciation, magnifies your awareness of the wealth already existing within your world. This is not a superficial positive thinking drill. It is a profound recalibration to your natural energetic state, the exact state that magnetizes more of what you genuinely cherish. If these concepts are striking a chord, if these words are waking up something deep within your spirit, then I invite you to hit subscribe. Do not just subscribe to this channel. Subscribe to this wavelength. Join this space where ancient consciousness intersects with modern quantum mechanics. Join this growing collective of minds, remembering the true architecture of reality. Clicking subscribe is your declaration. I am ready to remain in this dialogue. I am ready to stay anchored in this field. Chapter 9. The Magic of Invisible Support. In a frantic metropolis, a professional named Hazel sprinted through life, carrying the weight of the world completely on her own shoulders. The universe doesn't have time for my little issues, she would constantly grumble, dragging her exhausted spirit from one chore to the next. That is, until one frantic morning when she was running late for a crucial meeting. Miraculously, every single traffic light turned green just as she approached. A stranger held the elevator doors at the exact last second. A suddenly canceled appointment cleared the schedule, providing the flawless window she needed for her presentation. While these instances might appear as random strokes of luck, they are actually the vocabulary of cosmic support. What you dismiss as mere coincidence is, in reality, synchronicity, the invisible fingers of the universe actively responding to your energetic vibration. The moment you let go of the exhausting need to micromanage every detail, you permit these hidden currents to sweep you toward your ultimate benefit. The cosmos functions via a complex network of intelligence that dwarfs human logic. This grand choreography does not require your conscious belief to operate, much like gravity doesn't ask for your consent to keep you grounded. However, when you actively acknowledge these unseen forces, you invite their deliberate participation into your daily life. In a tranquil valley, an elder kite maker once imparted a timeless lesson to his student. The young apprentice was aggressively yanking his kite, trying to force it into the sky through sheer muscle. You cannot see the wind, the elder observed, but you can invite it to dance with your creation. The student loosened his white-knuckled grip, and instantly, the unseen drafts caught the fabric, lifting the kite effortlessly into the clouds. Just like that invisible wind, divine support is constantly swirling around you, powerful yet unseen. Your job is not to command these currents, but to harmonize with them. When you cease fighting the river, you realize it was always flowing toward your destination. Whether you conceptualize these forces as guardian angels, spirit guides, or simply universal intelligence. They operate seamlessly within natural laws. They do not answer desperate, fearful begging. They answer calm, energetic invitations. Your unwavering trust is the beacon they follow. The most profound miracles usually arrive quietly as a gentle, intuitive nudge or a serendipitous encounter that alters your entire trajectory. These are not accidents. They are direct replies to your energetic frequency. Sacred practice. The gentle ask. Whenever you find yourself tangled in confusion, pause and softly ask, "Show me the path of least resistance." Then, sit in absolute stillness. Allow your frantic thoughts to settle, much like leaves drifting to the bottom of a quiet pond. The very first subtle impression that bubbles up, whether it is a single word, a fleeting image, or a physical sensation, carries your answer. Trust this delicate communication. The universe rarely shouts. It speaks through the quiet, unshakable certainty of your own intuition. Chapter 10. Reality as a Relationship. In a sleepy hamlet lived Marjorie, a caretaker who dedicated every waking hour to everyone's needs except her own. Every morning, she scurried past mirrors, deliberately avoiding her own gaze, eager to tackle her endless chores. When people complimented her efforts, she instantly deflected their praise. Whenever a new door opened, she retreated into the shadows, pushing others into the spotlight. Consequently, her reality shrank, perfectly mirroring the tiny sliver of space she permitted herself to exist within. The cosmos operates as a flawless mirror. It does not punish or reward. It functions on a natural law as consistent as gravity. The relationship you maintain with yourself is the master blueprint that every other external experience must replicate. When you deeply respect your own value, the external world reflects that respect back to you. When you constantly minimize your own brilliance, reality is forced to echo that exact same insignificance. Marjorie's awakening arrived in an unlikely moment. While polishing her grandmother's tarnished silver mirror, she noticed how the scuffed metal still managed to catch the sunlight. "Even battered," she murmured, "it still reflects the light." That single, simple observation triggered a massive internal earthquake. She slowly began extending the same profound care to herself that she had always reserved for strangers. As her internal conversations became gentler, her external reality followed suit. Chances she once missed began knocking on her door. Connections that previously exhausted her transformed into deeply supportive bonds. High in the Himalayas, two ascetics preserved ancient tuning forks. When the first monk struck his instrument, the second fork would instantly vibrate and hum, reacting entirely to the invisible energy waves in the room. This phenomenon illustrates exactly how existence reacts to your self-image. The internal frequency you sustain generates a resonance that the external world is obligated to mirror. Every outside event is simply harmonizing with your inner chord. This insight is crucial for your personal evolution. The admiration, wealth, or affection you are chasing must first be gifted to yourself. The dynamic you share with your own soul acts as the skeleton key, opening the doors to all other connections. When you revere your own boundaries, reality echoes that reverence. When you rely on your inner voice, the universe rearranges itself to validate that confidence. Sacred practice. The mirror vow. Every morning, stand directly in front of your reflection. Say your own name with the exact warmth and care you would give to a cherished companion. Place a hand over your heart center and declare this holy oath. The way I treat myself is exactly how life will treat me. I consciously recognize my own immense value, and by doing so, I give reality permission to reflect it. Make this your daily ritual of communion with the cosmic law of reflection. Part 2. Navigating the Unseen Currents. Chapter 11. The Art of Allowing. Wandering through a crowded bazaar, a seasoned trader watched a young vendor named Ivy frantically organizing her stall of woven fabrics. She moved with chaotic speed, her eyes darting nervously toward every passerby. With every shopper who ignored her, she rearranged her goods with increasing panic, shouting her prices louder until her aura became a whirlwind of neediness that actively repelled potential buyers. The cosmos does not yield to brute force. It yields to frequency. When you aggressively wrestle with reality, you manufacture friction that clogs the spontaneous river of creation. Much like water effortlessly charting a path down a mountain, prosperity flows along the route of least friction. Your true job is never to bully reality into submission, but to hold the steady vibration that naturally magnetizes your desires. The elder trader walked over to Ivy and offered a profound secret. The more desperately you hunt, the faster your prey escapes. He instructed her to sit still, breathe deeply, and release her mental chokehold on making a sale. The moment her aura transitioned from frantic hunting to calm receptivity, shoppers organically migrated toward her stall, lured by her grounded and authentic energy. This concept stretches far beyond business into the very mechanics of creation. The reality you crave is already navigating toward you through unseen pathways. Your duty is not to force its arrival, but to simply let it dock. When you abandon the urge to micromanage the journey, you carve out a vacuum where cosmic intelligence can arrange the flawless timing and perfect conditions. Consider the legend of a monk in a remote sanctuary who wasted decades trying to shove open a cryptic door using sheer muscle. His back grew broad from the strain, but the entryway stayed locked. One afternoon, completely drained, he gave up and leaned back against the heavy wood. Instantly, the door swung smoothly inward. He had spent his life pushing against a threshold designed to be pulled. This parable directly reflects the manifestation process. The breakthroughs you desperately seek rarely manifest through aggressive hustle. They arrive through aligned receptivity. The gateway unlocks not when you collapse from exertion, but when you step aside and permit the natural rhythm of existence to take over. Sacred practice. The receptive posture. Retreat to a calm environment and find a relaxing seated posture. Rest your hands gently in your lap with your palms facing the ceiling, symbolizing total openness. Take 3 grounding breaths, allowing physical tension to evaporate with every exhalation. Focus your mind and softly state, "I welcome whatever aligns with my highest good to find me." Bathe in this sensation of tranquil allowance for a few minutes. Notice the distinct shift from aggressive pushing to peaceful receiving. This exercise retrains your nervous system, proving that creation is not about forcing events, but transforming into a clear conduit for them to arrive. Chapter 12. Frequency before form. In the center of a metropolitan hub, an entrepreneur named Calvin stared at his ultimate masterpiece, a flawless, miniature architectural model of the corporate empire he planned to construct. Every single element was obsessively mapped out, from intricate staff hierarchies to detailed financial forecasts. His blueprints were perfect, his strategy immaculate, yet, as the months dragged on, his grand vision stayed confined to that tiny table, stubbornly refusing to bloom into physical reality. The universe communicates in the dialect of vibration long before it translates into physical matter. Your emotional states are the raw, foundational building blocks of creation, sculpting your future world long before any physical circumstances begin to align. If you obsess strictly over the structural logistics of your goals without first establishing an emotional baseline, you are constructing hollow fantasies stunning to look at, but completely incapable of surviving in the material world. Calvin's breakthrough arrived during a chance meeting with a veteran architect. "Your blueprints are mathematically flawless," the elder noted. "But what is the atmosphere of these rooms? What does the texture of your impending triumph actually feel like?" This inquiry completely rewired Calvin's methodology. He stopped obsessing over his spreadsheets every morning and started immersing himself in the visceral sensation of his completed empire. The transformation was subtle at first, yet deeply monumental. By generating the inner wavelength of accomplishment, anchoring himself in serene confidence, immense joy, and unshakable calm, his outside world finally began to echo his inner state. Doors opened organically. Alliances formed without friction. His grand vision materialized not through exhausting effort, but through magnetic resonance. In a quiet settlement dwelt a painter named Maya, who flatly refused to sketch outlines or draft initial concepts. Instead, she would sit, facing an empty canvas, shut her eyes, and let the emotion of the unborn masterpiece wash over her. She only picked up her brush once the feeling had totally saturated her nervous system. Consequently, her artwork was celebrated not for its structural accuracy, but for its profound emotional impact. She painted raw essences, not just surface visuals. The lesson here is absolute. Emotion is not the aftermath of getting what you want. It is the primary engine that creates it. Your feelings act as the energetic mold that physical reality eventually pours into. By matching your internal state to your ultimate goal, you lay down a vibrational foundation for the cosmos to build upon. The true magic of creation bypasses logical details and goes straight to the emotional core. Like Maya standing before her canvas, you must feel your reality into existence. The logistical steps will automatically arrange themselves once the proper wavelength is dialed in. Sacred practice, emotional architecture. Carve out a moment of absolute stillness and sit comfortably. Shut your eyes and pinpoint a specific dream you want to realize. Now, drop the mental imagery entirely and zoom in on the raw feeling of having already achieved it. What does this victory feel like in your physical body? What is the energetic flavor of this fulfilled desire? Marinate in this emotional state for a few minutes, letting it soak into your cells. Afterward, gently let go of the feeling itself, confident that you have permanently installed the energetic framework for your manifestation. Always perform this emotional tuning before you map out any physical action steps or strategies. What we have unpacked today is merely a glimpse into how these universal mechanics operate. The concepts of surrender, energetic tuning, and conscious reality crafting we just explored belong to a much grander framework, a comprehensive blueprint for transitioning from exhausting hustle to effortless embodied creation. If you feel a pull to dive further into the quantum physics of the mind and want the exact protocols to shift from merely trying to attract things into becoming a pure magnetic beacon, I have created a comprehensive manual titled Beyond the Frequencies, a quantum guide to consciousness mastery. This resource expands our discussion into 9 distinct master frequencies, teaching you how to escape the static of survival mode and enter the realm of fluid creation. You can find the link in the pinned comment below. Chapter 13. The Illusion of Luck. Resting beside a winding alpine trail, a traveler named Sylvie gazed enviously at merchants, walking by with heavy purses and sparkling gems. Why does the universe shower them with riches, while I sit here with empty pockets? She lamented, her spirit weighed down by jealousy. As the afternoon sun stretched shadows across the dirt, a seasoned trader sat down next to her. With eyes radiating ancient knowing, he revealed the authentic mechanics of good fortune. What you label as luck, he explained, is simply the crossroads where absolute inner certainty intersects with physical readiness. This truth is as crisp as the mountain wind. The universe does not reward the lucky. It rewards the aligned. Your internal convictions generate a magnetic aura that either invites prosperity or forcefully pushes it away. When your psychological state perfectly matches your physical actions, you become a lightning rod for miracles. Think about a rainstorm. Some individuals grumble about the mud, while others strategically place buckets to catch the fresh water. The storm does not pick favorites. It strictly responds to preparation. The people who position their cups gather the blessing, while those who shout at the sky simply end up with drenched clothes. In a remote farming village lived Tao, a cultivator who deeply embodied this concept. While his neighbors spent a brutal drought begging the heavens for a downpour, Tao silently worked his land, carving out irrigation ditches and turning the dry soil. When the storm clouds finally broke, his properly prepped land drank up every single drop, whereas his neighbors could only watch in despair as the water slid right off their baked, neglected fields. The cosmos functions on flawless synchronization. What appears to be blind luck to the untrained eye is actually pinpoint alignment to the initiated. Your mission is not to hunt down good fortune, but to transform yourself into a deliberate magnet for opportunities. When you fuse deep internal belief with physical preparation, You issue an energetic summons that the universe is forced to answer. Luck is not a moody companion who abandons you randomly. It is a loyal mirror, accurately reflecting the exact caliber of your inner posture and your external readiness. Sacred practice, the morning summons. The moment your eyes open to the morning light, ground yourself in quiet receptivity. Speak this phrase with absolute certainty into the dawn. Incredible opportunities are already moving toward my readiness. This ancestral ritual tunes your energy field to the natural rhythm of abundance, kicking open unseen doorways for good fortune to stream through effortlessly. Always remember, luck is not a game of chance. It is a biological frequency, a language spoken through the flawless timing of a prepared heart and an unwavering mind. Your objective is not to pray for better luck. It is to literally become the embodiment of luck itself. Chapter 14. Trusting the Cosmic Timeline. Deep in the middle of the night, a woman named Dorothy paced her bedroom floor, her mind spinning with frantic impatience. Every single morning, she hunted for physical proof that her manifestations were arriving, and every night, the crush of disappointment grew heavier. It felt as though the cosmos was completely deaf to her begging, blind to her vision boards, and totally unfazed by her desperate daily affirmations. The ancient mystics have always whispered this reality. Manifestation obeys the organic rhythm of energetic maturity, just as a piece of fruit only materializes after the tree has fully completed its necessary growth cycles. Your desires will only show up when your personal vibration has matured enough to match their frequency. This process is not a waiting room. It is an evolution. Every attempt to forcefully rush a manifestation automatically plants the seeds of its destruction. When you try to speed up the clock, you disrupt the delicate quantum chemistry required to turn raw energy into solid matter. Your job is not to issue demands, but to adjust your alignment. You are meant to prepare, not to push. In a remote village lived Thomas, a baker convinced he could slash his baking time in half by simply doubling the fire in his ovens. It's simple math, he argued. What requires an hour at normal heat will take 15 minutes at double the temperature. Yet, every single loaf he pulled out was reduced to black charcoal on the outside, while remaining wet dough on the inside. Observing this disaster, a village elder offered a gentle truth. The dough understands its own timeline. Fire does not accelerate wisdom, and brute force does not accelerate blessings. This applies directly to the seeds you are planting in the soil of the quantum field. Every desire has its specific season, its exact, perfect window to bloom. What you interpret as an agonizing delay is almost always divine timing, shielding you from harvesting your desires before you are actually ready to hold them. The cosmos operates with flawless engineering, aligning millions of unseen variables to deliver your goal in its most spectacular form. Your impatience is never the voice of intuition. It is the frantic whispering of your ego's fear. It stems from a profound lack of trust in universal mechanics. Whenever that frantic urgency bubbles up, remind yourself, the law of attraction ignores your self-imposed deadlines. It only answers to your vibration. Your sole responsibility is to maintain the frequency of absolute trust, carrying the deep knowing that whatever belongs to you cannot possibly miss you. Sacred practice, the anchor of timing. During those heavy moments when the weight feels unbearable, close your eyes and take a deep breath. Place your hand flat against your chest and softly declare with total conviction, perfect timing is the ultimate proof of perfect unfolding. Let that reality sink deep into your bones. Realize that the universe is not stalling to torture you. It is meticulously plotting the most flawless delivery possible. Your true power is found in this exact surrender. Chapter 15. The Alchemy of Contrast. Tucked away in a quiet valley, surrounded by ancient mountains, lived June, a woman whose ambitions seemed to shatter every time she reached out to grab them. Every failure etched deeper lines of exhaustion into her soul, until one unexpected morning gifted her a massive paradigm shift. Here is the secret most people violently resist. Buried inside every annoying obstacle is a brilliant refinement process. The universe rarely hands you exactly what you want immediately. Instead, It shapes your desires through the sacred mechanism of contrast. Whenever you slam into a situation you hate, your understanding of what you actually want crystallizes with laser focus. The universe does not respond to vague, desperate wishes. It responds to the hyper-focused frequency of a highly refined desire. Every failure, every slammed door, and every miserable experience acts as the universe's chisel, carving away the rough stone to reveal the masterpiece hiding underneath. Consider the legend of Alejandro, a master sculptor. For decades, he screamed in frustration at the stubborn hardness of his marble blocks, treating their density as a personal enemy. Then, one morning, as golden light flooded his studio, he realized that the stone's intense resistance was exactly what forced his hands to discover the perfect curves hiding inside. The unyielding rock demanded that he listen closer, carve with greater precision, and understand the soul of the sculpture fighting to get out. The stone, he would frequently remark later, forced my hands to learn a level of genius that soft, yielding clay could never have taught me. This identical reality applies to your life's path. Those frustrating moments when reality seems to stubbornly block your progress are not punishments. They are the loving pressure of the universe, forcing you to sharpen your vision. Every single no acts as a guardrail, steering you closer to your ultimate yes. Every locked door is simply redirecting you toward the corridor you were always meant to walk down. Just as the master artist requires the heavy resistance of rock to produce a masterpiece, your soul requires frustrating contrast to pinpoint exactly what it truly desires. The failures that left you weeping are actually precision instruments, upgrading your consciousness into a highly advanced antenna capable of receiving your true manifestations. Once you genuinely internalize this concept, every annoying hurdle transforms from a curse into a massive advantage. You realize that knowing exactly what you hate is the fastest way to discover exactly what you love. This is the ultimate alchemy of contrast, spinning the heavy lead of failure into the pure gold of absolute clarity. Sacred practice, the alchemy of friction. The next time an irritating obstacle blocks your path, immediately pause. Place your hand flat on your chest and softly state with deep knowing, "This friction is actively polishing my masterpiece." Let this realization lock into your mind. Every annoyance clarifies your vision. Every stumbling block is actively building your future self. Chapter 16. The Unseen Contracts. Hidden in the shadows of a moonlit canyon, a man named Harold sat in total isolation. His chest was heavy, burdened by a lifetime of repeating betrayals. Trusted friends had abandoned him. Business partners had broken ironclad promises, and co-workers had repeatedly stolen his credit. With every fresh stab in the back, his anger crystallized, turning into a deep, toxic bitterness. That is, until a chance conversation with a wandering mystic permanently shattered his worldview. Here is a radical truth you must digest. Absolutely nothing in this physical dimension occurs by accident. Every single event, especially the ones that shatter your heart, shows up because of an invisible energetic agreement your soul drafted to force its own evolution. These cosmic contracts run silently in the background of your life, magnetically pulling in the exact villains and tragedies required to trigger your growth. Whenever you notice yourself stuck in a looping nightmare, whether it's continually dating the wrong person, hitting the same financial wall, or repeating a health crisis, understand that these are not strings of bad luck. They are the flawless execution of energetic contracts signed in a higher dimension. And until you consciously recognize these agreements, they are obligated to keep running. That is their entire job, to repeat the lesson until you finally wake up. High in the eastern peaks, two performers executed an ancient ritual dance. Night after night, they mirrored each other's movements flawlessly. Despite never exchanging a single word about the choreography, their muscle memory was bound by a silent, energetic pact. Then, one evening, under the glow of a full moon, one dancer simply froze. In that sudden pause, she suddenly recognized the invisible script that had been dictating her every move. Because she finally saw the script, she was instantly free to invent a completely new dance. Your life operates the exact same way. The toxic loops that trap you, like the betrayals that plagued Harold, will relentlessly continue until you spot the hidden script. Screaming at the universe about your bad luck achieves nothing. You must recognize these painful events for what they actually are. Brutal teachers wearing the masks of enemies. Your true power does not come from hiding from these contracts, but from bringing them into the light of your awareness. The moment you expose a hidden agreement, you instantly gain the authority to rip it up and draft a new one. Just like the dancer who recognized the routine and changed her steps, you can pivot. The betrayals you suffer are not karmic punishments. They are loud alarm clocks, demanding you figure out why a part of you agreed to this specific pain. Perhaps you contracted to learn self-worth by having it constantly attacked. Perhaps you agreed to learn boundaries by being surrounded by people who ignored them. Stop treating your recurring nightmares as enemies. They are your most fiercely dedicated mentors. Every painful repetition is a desperate message. The second you acknowledge this reality, the toxic loops immediately lose their grip, because conscious awareness is the only key capable of unlocking these ancient chains. Sacred practice, the dance of liberation. To break free from expired energetic contracts, you first have to stop fighting them, acknowledge them, thank them for doing their brutal job, and then deliberately choose to terminate the agreement. Find a private moment just as the sun begins to set. Stand tall in the center of the room, grounding your feet firmly into the floor. Place both hands over your heart center and declare this boundary with absolute authority. I hereby terminate all unseen agreements that require me to learn through pain. I only accept lessons delivered through love. Notice the immediate, physical lightness in your chest as those ancient, heavy contracts dissolve into smoke, clearing the stage for choices that actually serve your evolution. Chapter 17. Money as Conscious Energy. These unseen energetic contracts infiltrate every corner of your life, especially your dynamic with wealth and abundance. In the chaotic lanes of a historic market, a woman named Irene gripped her wallet with white-knuckled terror, treating every single purchase like a personal tragedy. Whenever she handed over a coin, her entire energy field violently contracted. Unsurprisingly, money consistently evaporated from her life, slipping away like sand through a clenched fist. The universe is governed by invisible currents of energetic exchange. At its absolute core, money has no moral alignment. It is neither holy nor evil. It is merely raw energy in transit, directly reacting to your subconscious beliefs about your own worthiness and the nature of supply. When you try to choke this flow out of fear, you instantly build dams that block the natural river of prosperity. In the remote eastern highlands, there flows a legendary river. The locals who approach the water, offering prayers of profound gratitude, always leave with buckets overflowing with crystal clear water. Conversely, those who aggressively approach the banks fueled by desperation and demands walk away with nothing but muddy sludge. The river, mirroring the mechanics of wealth, does not respond to your desperate need. It responds exclusively to your level of appreciation. One morning, as sunlight sparkled across the rapids, a wise woman approached the bank. Instead of frantically shoving her bucket into the water, she sat peacefully on the rocks, radiating gratitude for the river's infinite supply. The waters joyously surged toward her, effortlessly filling her container and creating fresh streams that pooled around her feet. The river, much like the energy of money, thrives when it is acknowledged and appreciated rather than feared and hoarded. This story perfectly illustrates your personal financial dynamic. When you handle money with panic, skepticism, or a hoarding mentality, you introduce massive friction into its natural orbit. However, when you treat money as a divine current of energy that flows best on trust and gratitude, you blast open the channels for effortless, massive circulation. Your bank account is not a report card measuring your cosmic goodness. It is simply a highly accurate thermometer reading your energetic relationship with abundance. Every time you spend or receive cash, you have an opportunity to rewrite this relationship, to flip anxiety into deep appreciation and heavy resistance into fluid motion. Sacred practice, the currency of trust. The next time you engage in any financial transaction, whether you are swiping a credit card or accepting a paycheck, take a brief pause. Place your hand flat against your chest and silently declare, "Circulation equals trust." Feel the physical relief of that statement wash through your body. This quick recalibration instantly tunes your frequency back to the natural rhythm of abundance, shredding old contracts rooted in poverty and drafting fresh agreements built on massive prosperity. Chapter 18. Relationships as Resonance. Sitting in a noisy, crowded cafe, Milton stared blankly at his newest partner, realizing she was yet another perfect mirror for his own unhealed trauma. For decades, he had selected lovers based entirely on surface-level traits, conventional attractiveness, career success, and polite manners. Yet, without fail, every single romance rapidly spiraled into the exact same toxic patterns of suspicion and heartbreak. His most recent relationship had just collapsed in a familiar heap, leaving him bewildered as to why love always felt like a punishing time loop. The cosmic truth is brutal but liberating. You do not attract what you logically want. You attract exactly what you vibrate. Your romantic partners are never accidental collisions. They are hyper-accurate reflections of your internal frequency. The moment Milton grasped this physics, everything changed. His habit of drawing in emotionally icy partners was not a string of bad luck. It was a perfect vibrational match to his own buried emotional walls. The law of attraction governs human connection with cold, mathematical precision. Like always, summons like. Deep trauma summons deep trauma. Genuine healing summons genuine healing. Your relationships are not things happening to you. They are projections beaming out of you. Every single individual who crosses your path is a precise match to the energetic signal you are broadcasting, whether you are aware of that signal or not. Imagine two tuning forks resting on a table. If you strike one, its identical twin will instantly begin humming in perfect synchronization without ever being touched. This is not magic. This is basic resonance. In that exact same way, your personal energy field constantly pings the universe, pulling in anyone broadcasting on your specific wavelength. If you are vibrating with unresolved abandonment issues, you will effortlessly magnetize people who will abandon you. If you are radiating fierce self-respect, you become highly attractive only to those who also respect themselves. A master clockmaker once built timepieces that constantly lost time. No matter how perfectly he calibrated the tiny gears and springs, every clock ran either aggressively fast or painfully slow. One afternoon, he realized that his own frantic, anxious energy was physically interfering with the delicate mechanics as he assembled them. Only when he cultivated deep internal stillness did his clocks finally tick in perfect rhythm. Romance operates the exact same way. Your internal climate dictates your external matches. The takeaway is absolute. Your dating history will only change the moment your internal frequency changes. Frantically searching the outside world will never override your internal resonance. The journey to a legendary partnership always begins with aggressively loving yourself. Sacred practice, vibrational attunement. Locate a quiet corner and take 3 deep, intentional breaths. Grab a pen and write a passionate love letter directly to yourself, writing from the perspective of your absolute ideal partner. Inject these words with all the profound understanding, unconditional acceptance, and deep adoration you are craving. This is not a silly, self-indulgent fantasy. This is a deliberate, highly technical calibration of your romantic frequency. As you pen the letter, physically feel the weight of the words hitting your chest. This piece of paper immediately becomes the master tuning fork for all your future romantic connections, locking you into a frequency of love that matches your highest possible vibration. As we wade deeper into these cosmic mechanics, I have a quick request. If this message is hitting home, if something inside you is fundamentally cracking open as you listen, drop a single word in the comments below that captures the exact energy you are choosing to embody right now. Just one word. This is not a casual comment for the algorithm. This is you stamping your energetic signature directly into the quantum field. This is you formally declaring your frequency to reality. Do it right now. Chapter 19. The Dimmer Switch of Belief. In a breezy coastal village, Pearl ran a charming little bakery, constantly swinging between soaring optimism and crushing insecurity. On Monday mornings, she felt invincible, fully convinced her business was destined for massive success. But by Tuesday afternoon, a heavy fog of doubt would roll in, suffocating her confidence until her goals felt totally unreachable. The cosmos does not care about how desperately you want something. It only cares about the consistency of the vibration you broadcast. Much like a radio antenna, a fluctuating signal generates massive static in your manifestations. Your core belief system is the engine powering your entire reality. When your mind constantly violently swings between absolute faith and blind terror, your desires materialize and vanish just as quickly. Hovering like mirages on a hot highway, envision your consciousness as a burning torch. Every single anxious thought and every surge of doubt causes that flame to sputter and fade. However, the sheer size of the fire is irrelevant. What matters is the steady, unblinking nature of the burn. The universe absolutely cannot construct a solid reality on the shifting quicksand of unstable beliefs. A wise mentor once illustrated this concept with the tale of two lighthouse operators. The first keeper furiously polished his lantern in random bursts, creating blinding but totally unpredictable flashes of light. The second keeper simply maintained a modest, quiet flame, tending to it with calm, daily discipline. Ships always successfully navigated the treacherous rocks using the second keeper's steady glow, while the chaotic, blinding flashes of the first keeper frequently caused wrecks. Just as a lantern burns the brightest when its wick is calmly and consistently trimmed, your ability to manifest operates at maximum power when you carefully maintain a steady, quiet belief. True power is never found in explosive, temporary bursts of motivation. It is cultivated through the boring, patient maintenance of unshakable trust. Once Pearl digested this reality, she stopped torturing herself with wild emotional pendulum swings. Instead, she focused entirely on guarding her internal flame with quiet consistency. She abandoned the exhausting hunt for explosive bursts of confidence and chose to nurture a calm, quiet certainty that burned steadily through every storm. Always remember, the universe does not demand your frantic, 24/7 obsession or exhausting emotional labor. It requires only your calm, patient trust. Like a meticulously kept lantern, let your belief burn clean and steady. Sacred practice. Trimming the wick. Every time a shadow of doubt creeps into your mind, immediately pause and softly declare, I am adjusting my light back to full. This is never a panicked plea. It is a calm, deliberate recalibration. You are simply a lighthouse keeper tending to an eternal flame. Allow these words to act as the gentle trimming of your energetic wick, ensuring the quiet radiance of your creative power remains unbroken. Chapter 20. The Infinite Expanse of Now. In a frantic, crowded bazaar, Floyd sprinted past vendor stalls, his mind entirely locked on future riches. As he raced, he completely ignored the vibrant blooming flowers and the smell of fresh fruit surrounding him. To Floyd, every single day was merely a stepping stone to some imaginary finish line, ensuring he completely missed the massive abundance currently screaming for his attention. The ancient texts constantly echo this truth. Creation possesses only one single dimension, the present moment. The glorious future you are chasing does not sprout from your fantasies about tomorrow. It is generated exclusively from this single breath, this exact heartbeat, and this current flash of awareness. When you constantly chase happiness that lives in the future, you are training the universe to keep your joy permanently dangling just out of reach. Your ability to bend reality exists solely within the razor-thin sliver of the now. Imagine a master weaver sitting at a loom. You can only work with the specific thread actively sliding through your fingers right this second. The thread of yesterday is gone, completely locked into its pattern. The thread of tomorrow does not exist yet. The quantum sphere of limitless potential only collapses into solid physical form through the lens of present moment awareness. A revered sage often told the story of Samuel, an aspiring gardener who constantly fantasized about a lush paradise garden. Every day, Samuel stood staring at a patch of dry dirt, vividly hallucinating beautiful flowers. Yet, he completely refused to water or weed the soil until he actually saw physical sprouts. "Why waste time tending to empty dirt?" he argued. "I will only nurture this dirt once it actually proves it can grow something," Samuel reasoned. Weeks dragged on, and his neglected plot of earth remained completely dead. Meanwhile, his neighbor Sophia tended to her garden with absolute, mindful presence. She blessed every handful of soil and every drop of water long before a single green shoot breached the surface. Naturally, her garden exploded with vibrant life, while Samuel's remained a barren wasteland. This illustrates a harsh but beautiful reality. Life never reacts to your fantasies about tomorrow. It strictly responds to your attention today. When you refuse to engage fully with life until your circumstances improve, you rip open a void that the future can never fill. The seeds of tomorrow's paradise can only sprout in the soil of today's awareness. Your desired manifestations are not hiding in some distant timeline. They are waiting in the hyper-fertile ground of right now. Every single inhale contains the voltage necessary to birth an entirely new reality, provided you are fully present to command it. By occupying this exact second, you turn on the quantum engine of creation, sacred practice, the anchor of now. Pause whatever you are doing right this second and softly declare, "Only this exact moment is real. I choose to let it be enough." Notice the immediate physiological shift in your body as you stop hunting for a future destination and start receiving the present moment. Watch how reality alters its shape when you finally show up to meet it right here, right now, with total awareness. Part 3. The Forbidden Light. Chapter 21. The Creator and the Creation. Sitting in a sun-drenched room, buried under vision boards and gratitude journals, Winnie was suddenly paralyzed by a profound question. Who is actually doing the manifesting? Was it her isolated human ego fighting to build a life, or was it the universe operating through her? Chasing this paradox led her deep into the ultimate labyrinth of truth. The answer requires a massive paradigm shift. Consciousness is simultaneously the architect and the architecture. You are not a separate entity begging the universal mind for favors. You are the universe's mind localized in a human body. When you deliberately create, it is never you fighting against the cosmos. It is consciousness exploring its own infinite potential through your specific, unique viewpoint. This is the ultimate sacred paradox. You are the dreamer and the dream, the painter and the canvas, the tide and the sea. Your grandest ambitions do not come from a greedy, isolated ego. They are the infinite intelligence of the universe attempting to experience itself through your life. Many students get trapped in this false duality, believing they must either aggressively force their willpower upon the world or passively give up entirely. This separation is a complete mental illusion. In truth, your authentic desires and the universe's will are exactly the same thing, just like a river is simultaneously the water and the current. In an ancient sanctuary, a master demonstrated this perfectly. Lighting a solitary candle in a pitch-black room, he told his students to watch closely. He then used that flame to ignite a second candle. Did the original fire shrink by sharing its power? He asked. No, they replied. And can you distinguish which light belongs to which wick? Again, they could not. It was a single, unified brilliance, projecting through multiple physical anchors. Human consciousness works exactly the same way. The cosmic mind never depletes its energy by inhabiting billions of bodies, and your individual awareness can never be disconnected from its origin. You are not a tiny fraction of the universe. You are the entire universe viewing reality from a specific angle. Grasping this completely alters how you operate. Manifestation stops being a desperate plea for things you lack and becomes a natural allowance of what already exists inside you. The frantic struggle for control evaporates. You stop doubting your worthiness. Like the candle flame, You realize you are inherently complete, both the vessel and the power source. Your role upgrades from a struggling creator to an active participant in a cosmic masterpiece. This is never about passive surrender. It is about aggressively recognizing your true identity. Once you realize you are both the wave and the ocean, you can ride the currents of life while fully expressing your unique power. Sacred practice. The unified flame. Light a single candle and sit before it. Stare gently into the flame and softly state, "This light and my soul are the exact same fire." Let that reality anchor deeply into your nervous system until the artificial wall separating you from the universe completely melts away. Chapter 22. The Paradox of Hustle. Sprinting through a chaotic commercial district, a man named Oscar carried the crushing weight of infinite to-do lists. He started every single day strictly bound to rigid schedules, measuring every hour against brutal, impossible expectations. He was entirely convinced that prosperity was the direct offspring of agonizing struggle. That illusion held until the day his physical body finally shut down, absolutely refusing to get out of bed. In that mandatory, exhausted silence, a massive realization finally broke through the noise. The cosmos ignores brute force. It only rewards energetic flow. Whatever you fight, multiplies. Whatever you accept, dissolves. Ancient doctrines have always whispered that ultimate strength is never found in aggressively swimming upstream. It is found in aligning seamlessly with the river's current. Think about a jammed door. You can either throw your shoulder into it and bruise yourself, or you can find that exact sweet spot, that perfect angle where the handle turns effortlessly. This is the essence of aligned action. Once your psychological state perfectly matches your physical targets, massive obstacles simply move themselves out of your way. Friction is never your nemesis. It is merely an indicator, pointing out exactly where you need to adjust your alignment. At a distant seaport, two captains prepared to cross the same treacherous bay. The first captain, acting exactly how most of us do in moments of panic, violently yanked at his oars. His muscles screamed, his boat groaned, and he sweat profusely. Yet the opposite shoreline barely got any closer. The second captain, schooled in advanced universal mechanics, simply tweaked the angle of his sails. With every millimeter of adjustment, the massive power of the wind amplified his goal. By nightfall, the second vessel had traveled twice as far using a fraction of the energy. This story is a direct metaphor for your life. The next time you find yourself aggressively forcing an outcome, pause. The limitless power of the universe is simply waiting for you to align your sails. Like the masterful captain, you are not supposed to battle the gale. You are supposed to position yourself to be pushed by it. Triumph is not born from aggressive domination. It is born from elegant synchronization. A true sailor never commands the weather. They dance with it. Your dreams will not materialize because you successfully bullied reality into submission. They will flourish because you successfully partnered with cosmic laws. Whenever you drop the oars of desperate hustle and simply adjust the sails of your intention, you plug directly into a power grid far more potent than human sweat. Sacred practice. Dropping the oars. Whenever you catch yourself clenching your jaw and trying to force a situation, immediately stop. Take 3 deep inhales and ask yourself this single question. What would happen if I simply trusted the wind right now? Notice the instant physical relief that floods your nervous system. Then, just like the seasoned captain, make one tiny adjustment toward ease. Watch how rapidly the universe steps in to help the moment you choose flow over force. Chapter 23. Mentors in Disguise. In a sleepy seaside town, Daisy felt completely cursed by a never-ending parade of toxic personalities. Her next-door neighbor constantly whined about her rose bushes growing over the property line. Her boss perpetually micromanaged her projects. Even family dinners were ruined by her sister's endless, cutting remarks about Daisy's life choices. Every single interaction left her completely exhausted, until one morning she stumbled across a passage in an ancient philosophical text. Its fading ink revealed a paradigm-shattering secret. The people who irritate you the most are often your highest-level mentors. specifically dispatched by the universe to trigger your evolution. The logic operates like this. Anyone who provokes intense emotional friction within you is simply holding up a massive mirror to your own unhealed wounds. Your explosive reactions to other people never actually reveal their flaws. They strictly reveal your internal blockages. What looks like an aggressive attack is actually a cosmic invitation to level up. Think of a master blacksmith. He shapes raw iron using both gentle heat and violent hammer strikes. Both extremes are absolutely necessary to forge a masterpiece. In that exact same way, the people who aggressively trigger you and the people who softly comfort you are equal partners in your spiritual transformation. High in the eastern mountains lived a sage who possessed a very strange mirror. Unlike normal glass, this artifact showed absolutely nothing until a person stepped close and breathed heavily onto its surface. Only in the temporary fog of their own breath did their true reflection appear. Travelers constantly complained, "This mirror is defective. I can't see anything." But those brave enough to step close and actually breathe on it discovered the profound lesson. Ultimate clarity is usually provided by the exact thing that seems to be clouding your vision. This principle plays out in your daily life constantly. The boss who interrogates your work is not blocking your promotion. They are forcing you to become bulletproof in your conviction. The relative who mocks your goals is not holding you back. They are challenging you to stand fiercely in your own truth. The moment you decode this pattern, something magical happens. The villains in your story instantly morph into sacred allies. Their annoying behavior stops being a curse and becomes a massive blessing, a free opportunity for deep self-analysis. Sacred practice, the mirror of adversity. Every evening, as the sun dips below the horizon, carve out a moment of silence. Bring to mind the specific person who shattered your peace today. Close your eyes, press your palm against your chest, and silently broadcast this thought. I recognize and honor the specific lesson you were sent to teach me. Physically feel the heavy resentment melt away, replaced by profound understanding. True mentors arrive exactly when the student is ready, and they frequently wear the terrifying masks of our enemies. Chapter 24. The Alchemy of the Subconscious. Deep within a secluded valley where ancient secrets still echoed through the forests, a man named Roscoe spent decades trying to violently force his life to change using nothing but daytime willpower. He spent every waking hour forcefully policing his thoughts, censoring his vocabulary, and aggressively trying to crank his vibration higher. Yet, true transformation continually slipped through his fingers until he finally unlocked the profound, ancient gateway of sleep. The cosmos communicates its most profound truths through the surreal, symbolic language of dreams. When your logical, conscious brain finally lets go of its rigid rules about what is possible, the deeper, hidden realities emerge from the darkness. Your nocturnal adventures are not meaningless hallucinations. They are high-level negotiations between your earthly ambitions and infinite universal intelligence. While you sleep, the barrier separating the physical and energetic dimensions becomes incredibly thin. Your spirit, temporarily unshackled from paying bills and answering emails, links directly into the cosmic mainframe. In this twilight dimension, your deeply rooted limiting beliefs shift and dissolve like sand dunes in the wind, rapidly reorganizing themselves to match your soul's ultimate destiny, rather than your ego's limited logic. Consider the fable of the midnight blossoms. Under the scorching glare of the midday sun, the garden's flowers remained stubbornly shut, refusing to grow. But as the silver light of the moon blanketed the soil, every single bud slowly opened, absorbing a celestial frequency that the harsh daylight could never provide. By dawn, the entire landscape was transformed, not through violent effort, but through absolute surrender to the alchemy of the night. Your own consciousness blooms in the exact same darkness. While your physical body is paralyzed in rest, universal mechanics are aggressively rewiring your energetic blueprint to align with your grandest intentions. Massive obstacles that seemed insurmountable at 2 p.m. completely dissolve in the dreamscape, clearing the fertile ground for new realities to take root. Your true objective is not to hustle harder during the day, but to surrender deeper to this nightly recalibration. Every evening, before you lose consciousness, deliberately hand over your stress and struggles to this ancient intelligence. Treat your dreams as a quantum laboratory, the exact workshop where new timelines are built and tested before they are shipped into your physical waking world. The magic of this process does not require you to fully understand it. It simply requires you to allow it to happen. As you float between dimensions every night, you literally enter the universe's forge, where reality is hammered into the exact shape of your heart's true frequency. Sacred practice, the twilight handover. As your head hits the pillow tonight, gently close your eyes and whisper this phrase with absolute, quiet authority. While my body rests, the universe is actively working in my favor. Ensure these exact words are the final conscious thought echoing in your mind as you surrender into the transformative power of sleep. Chapter 25. The Infinite Void Between Thoughts. On a foggy morning inside an ancient monastery courtyard, a woman named Edna sat rigidly on her meditation cushion, her face twisted in agonizing frustration. For months, she had battled to violently silence her mind, convinced that meditation was a tactical escape pod away from the chaotic noise of her life. Yet, every single attempt only left her more exhausted and frustrated than before. An elderly monk tending to the courtyard's wind chimes noticed her silent war. Without speaking, he motioned for her to follow him into the high bell tower. There, surrounded by massive, swaying bronze bells, he pointed out a profound secret. It was never the loud ringing of the metal that created the beautiful music. It was the precise, silent spaces between every strike. The ultimate truth is this: meditation is never an escape plan. It is a divine meeting. When your mental chatter finally flatlines, you step into the sacred quantum chamber where the universe is waiting for you. Much like twisting a radio dial and finding that pocket of pure, crystal-clear reception between two static-filled stations, your consciousness locks onto the frequency of creation the moment you achieve true quiet. Inside that profound silence lies the origin point of all physical matter. Every dream, every empire, and every miracle is initially conceived inside that tiny, silent void between two thoughts. This is the exact frequency where the cosmos speaks its native language, not in words, not in visions, but in raw, unshaped potential. A brilliant composer named Sophia discovered this secret right before the most critical concert of her career. Driven by a toxic obsession with perfection, she rehearsed frantically until her hands literally cramped and forced her to stop. In that sudden, mandatory silence, she finally heard the secret she had been missing. The raw, emotional power of the song didn't live in the notes. It lived in the pauses. Those silences were not dead space. They were vibrating with tension, giving the next note its entire meaning. Just like Sophia, you will eventually realize that your ultimate manifesting power is not generated by a constant state of doing. It is generated in brief, potent moments of simply being. The universe does not want your exhausting hustle. It wants your quiet, undivided attention. In that stillness, you realize you are both the composer writing the music and the song being played. Sacred practice. Locating the void. Get comfortable and let your eyes fall shut. Do not try to control your breathing. Just let it find its own natural tide. As you breathe, bring 100% of your focus to the tiny, split-second pause that occurs right after you exhale, just before your body pulls the next inhale. That microscopic gap, that sliver of absolute stillness holds the blueprint for the entire universe. Rest your awareness inside that gap, even if you can only hold it for half a second. Notice how a massive wave of peace instantly floods your system without any effort. Let that pause prove to you that silence is never empty. It is the pregnant womb of infinite potential. In those split seconds of absolute zero, you physically touch the limitless power of the cosmos. Your true ability to manifest is not fueled by your hustle or your frantic affirmations. It is powered entirely by your capacity to rest inside this silent void, the exact space where all creation originates. Between every breath you take, intentionally visit this zone of absolute non-thought and deeply acknowledge its profound peace. Chapter 26. the architecture of parallel timelines. Wandering through a crowded ancient bazaar, a merchant named Grover suddenly froze, struck by a dizzying sensation. The physical world in front of him appeared to glitch. For a split second, the apples on a vendor's cart were deep red. In the next microsecond, they shimmered with a golden hue. This was not the first time Grover had felt the solid ground of reality temporarily lose its density. What Grover experienced that afternoon points to a massive quantum truth that ancient mystics have always known. Reality does not flow in one single, unchangeable, straight line. It flows like a massive river delta, branching off into millions of infinite tributaries. Every single second, the universe splits into countless potential timelines. Every choice you make operates as a doorway, dropping you into a completely different alternate experience. The cosmos, in its infinite computing power, actively runs every possible version of your life simultaneously. The true secret of the law of attraction is that you do not actually change your current reality. Instead, you select a different reality stream to walk into. Your conscious attention is a highly sensitive tuning dial, magnetically pulling you toward the specific timeline that matches your dominant emotional frequency. Tucked away in a mountain studio, a painter named Maya naturally discovered this quantum physics concept through her art. Every morning, she would lay out 5 identical blank canvases across her floor and start painting the exact same landscape on all of them. But as the hours passed, each canvas naturally took on different nuances, a shift in the weather, a different color palette, a slight change in the horizon. Rather than agonizing over one canvas and forcing it to be perfect, Maya would physically walk around her studio, eventually coming to a stop in front of the specific version that made her heart expand. That chosen canvas always became her masterpiece. This simple artistic process perfectly illustrates the mechanics of quantum selection. Just like Maya picking her favorite painting, you possess the ability to navigate between parallel versions of your life, using the power of focused emotion. Whenever you get that intense wave of déjà vu or a sudden feeling that a room just shifted, you are literally witnessing the thin, transparent veil between 2 adjacent realities. The ultimate cheat code is realizing you never have to force a bad situation to improve. You simply have to recognize your inherent power to step sideways into a parallel timeline where the solution already exists. This is not science fiction. This is the literal quantum framework of the universe. I am genuinely curious. Have you ever experienced a bizarre moment where reality felt like it skipped a beat? A moment where everything felt slightly different, even though nothing physically moved? Drop into the comments and tell me exactly what happened. Your specific story might be the exact confirmation someone else needs to read today. Sacred practice. The reality jump. Find a quiet, safe space and close your eyes. Allow your mental awareness to stretch outward. Imagine that there are multiple, transparent versions of this exact moment hovering around you like overlapping holograms. Some of these holograms feel heavy and exhausting. Others feel light and expansive. Without forcing anything, simply notice which holographic version feels the most vibrant and peaceful, the timeline where your life flows effortlessly. Visualize yourself simply stepping sideways into that specific hologram, as naturally as walking out of the shade and into the sunlight. Command your nervous system to fully lock into this new stream of existence. Remember, the universe does not give you what you beg for. It gives you what you energetically align with. Chapter 27. The Matrix of Pronouncement. In a small coastal fishing village, a woman named Lahi spent every morning tending to her vegetable garden. Yet, the entire time she worked, she fiercely complained. She cursed the stubborn weeds, complained loudly about the dry dirt, and whined about how slowly the tomatoes were growing. Despite her back-breaking physical labor, her garden was constantly dying. Then, one afternoon, a village elder stopped by her fence. "Your spoken words are watering those roots far more than your watering can," the elder noted. "And right now, you are flooding your plants with battery acid instead of honey. The wisdom echoing through the centuries is clear. Your spoken words are not empty sounds that vanish into the wind. They are literal vibrational codes that hack the fabric of reality. Every single sentence you utter carries a distinct electromagnetic frequency that physically reshapes the matrix around you. When you speak, you are actively writing the code for your future. Your casual complaints about being broke are actively building next month's financial struggles. Your offhand jokes about your terrible health are physically programming next week's fatigue. High above an ancient valley, a legendary monk deeply understood this phenomenon. Desperate students would hike for days up the dangerous cliffs just to beg for his advice, only to find him sitting in total silence. When they finally broke down and started listing their miseries, their voices would echo massively across the canyon. The students who whined and complained heard their suffering multiplied 1,000 times, crashing back down on them. The students who spoke of hope and resilience heard their power amplified across the horizon. Listen closely. The monk would finally whisper, breaking his silence. This canyon is simply showing you exactly how your words construct your world. It is identical to the physical reality of your life. The ancient wisdom holds true. Your speech is spellcraft of the highest degree. Every single word you release is a literal seed dropped into the hyper-fertile soil of the quantum field. The universe, which is infinitely responsive, has absolutely no choice but to grow whatever you plant through your speech. This is not a poetic metaphor. This is quantum metaphysics. This is the literal engineering of creation. Your words act like physical crystals forming inside a liquid solution. They violently restructure the invisible energy grid around you into specific patterns that magnetize identical physical experiences. A careless, cynical joke about always being broke physically drafts the architectural blueprint for your next financial disaster. A calm, conscious declaration of abundance drafts the blueprint for incoming wealth. Sacred practice, the dawn pronouncement. As the very first rays of morning light touch the horizon, stand facing east. Speak your blessings out loud with deliberate, aggressive care. I speak massive light into this day. I declare immense joy into existence. I pronounce total peace into physical manifestation. Let your voice ring with the same unstoppable power as the sunrise, completely knowing that your words are actively building the structure of the next 24 hours. Chapter 28. The Sacred Geometry of Faith. Hidden in a forgotten canyon where ancient ruins whispered forgotten truths, a man named Silas knelt every single morning to pray. His desperate pleas echoed against the deaf mountains, seemingly vanishing into thin air. Day after day, his words floated upward like smoke, yet the heavens seemed totally indifferent to his begging. However, within that invisible space, a massive cosmic engineering project was unfolding. As Silas watched the fog of his breath spiral into the morning light, he suddenly realized his prayers were not vanishing. They were locking together into a distinct pattern. Much like morning dew linking together across a spider's web, every single whispered hope anchored itself to the previous one, slowly constructing an invisible, geometric lattice of sheer potential. The cosmos communicates exclusively through patterns, aggressively organizing chaos into order through the power of sacred repetition. Your obsessive thoughts and repeated prayers are never random wishes fired blindly into the dark. They are living, vibrating blueprints that the universe utilizes to construct solid matter, just as a physical diamond forms along exact geometric lines that the naked eye cannot see. Your unwavering faith constructs the invisible scaffolding that physical reality is forced to fill. When you relentlessly hold a specific outcome in your mind, you are not engaging in wishful thinking. You are aggressively hammering anchor points into the quantum field. These anchor points connect, building an energetic skeleton that physically drags your manifestation toward it, like a massive magnet pulling iron dust. This explains why relentless persistence is never about begging a stubborn universe to finally give in. It is about patiently waiting for the complete energetic architecture of your manifestation to finish building. High above Silas's canyon lived an elderly mystic who spent every winter obsessively studying snowflakes. Every dawn, as frost crystallized on his cabin window, he watched flawlessly symmetrical patterns violently rip themselves out of invisible water vapor. Look at how creation actually builds, he would tell travelers. It always creates the invisible blueprint first, and then physical matter fills the mold. Your life follows this exact same divine geometry. The ultimate secret is understanding that faith is never a blind, foolish hope. It is your active, conscious participation in programming the underlying matrix of reality. Just as a snowflake requires a microscopic piece of dust to crystallize around, your physical manifestations require the core seed of a sustained, unwavering vision to crystallize around. The physical elements of your future are literally being assembled in the unseen dimension right now, organizing themselves strict. Your job is never to force the physical outcome. Your job is to hold the geometric pattern steady until physical reality has no choice but to fill it. Sacred practice, weaving the matrix. Every single time panic or fear attempts to shatter your vision, close your eyes instantly. Visualize thick threads of blinding golden light violently weaving themselves into a tight net around your desired goal. Watch these threads crisscross and lock together, forming massive, indestructible geometric grids that literally pulse with raw power. Accept that this glowing matrix is the literal foundation your physical manifestation is currently building itself upon. Particle by particle, as you maintain this visualization, feel your nervous system completely relax into absolute trust, knowing that the universe is flawlessly constructing the exact architecture required to deliver your dream. You are not hoping. You are actively architecting. Chapter 29. The Power of the Observer. High in a glass tower overlooking a chaotic metropolis, a woman named Bertie sat frozen on her sofa, completely suffocated by a tornado of panic and mounting pressures. Every single anxious thought violently fed the next, until a thick fog of dread blacked out her entire reality. But inside that exact moment of absolute suffocation, she stumbled upon a superpower. She realized she could mentally step backward and simply watch her thoughts spin, rather than allowing herself to drown in them. Your mind is identical to the infinite sky, and your thoughts are merely temporary weather systems passing through. Whenever you fuse your identity with every passing thought, you are forced to experience the violent turbulence of every single storm. However, there is a dimension of pure, untouched awareness inside you, an immovable, silent observer that watches the chaos without ever being touched by it. This silent witness is your actual identity. This pure awareness remains completely unblemished by the chaotic contents of your mind, exactly how the vast sky is never stained by the dark storm clouds passing through it. The moment you anchor yourself in this space of raw observation, you instantly tap into a dimension of absolute peace that exists long before mental chatter even begins. Consider this basic logic. If you possess the ability to watch your own thoughts, you logically cannot be those thoughts. You are the infinite canvas on which they are painted. Grasping this distinction is the ultimate skeleton key to psychological freedom. An ancient sage once shared a parable about a lighthouse keeper who found immense joy during the most violent hurricanes. While the villagers below panicked at the crashing waves, he simply stood in his high tower and watched, fully aware that his lighthouse was built on unshakable rock. Your conscious awareness is that exact same lighthouse. It projects a steady, unbreakable beam over the violent storms of your mind, totally immune to the turbulent waters below. This story highlights a crucial realization. You do not ever need to control, censor, or aggressively eliminate your thoughts. You merely need to watch them from the high tower of your consciousness. From this elevated perspective, what used to feel like a suffocating panic attack transforms into a temporary movie playing on a screen completely powerless to harm your true identity. When you sever your identity from every passing thought, you realize they are completely hollow. Like morning fog burning off in the sun, they naturally form and dissolve within the massive expanse of your awareness. Your mission is never to go to war with your mind, but to laugh at its lack of real substance. The ancient discipline of watching your thoughts without reacting proves that you are never the thinker. You are the silent witness observing the machinery of thought. This is not a fluffy philosophical theory. It is a highly practical, instant exit strategy from suffering. Anytime you feel completely overwhelmed, You can physically step backward into the observer role and experience instant relief. Sacred practice. The silent witness. Find a comfortable position and let your eyes drop shut. For exactly 60 seconds, simply watch your thoughts drift by like debris floating down a river. As every single thought pops up, mentally greet it with 2 words. Not me. Then, let it drift away. Do not attempt to aggressively stop the flow or change the narrative. Just observe the machinery of your brain from the untouchable throne of pure awareness. Chapter 30. The ultimate plot twist. In a secluded cabin perched on a sea cliff, Caleb paced relentlessly, his brain exhausted by the endless hunt for manifestation secrets. Every single quantum hack and spiritual routine he had memorized now felt completely empty, like scattered puzzle pieces refusing to snap together. Night after night, he aggressively stared at his vision boards, violently chanted his affirmations, and visualized with exhausting precision. Yet, the final, most crucial puzzle piece completely evaded him. Then, during a violent midnight thunderstorm, Caleb collapsed into a state of total, defeated meditation. The moment he threw his hands up in absolute surrender, a deafening silence blanketed his mind. The frantic desperation that had possessed him completely evaporated, uncovering the ultimate cosmic secret. He was never the student trying to learn magic. He was the source of the magic itself. This single realization flips the entire universe upside down. The cosmos does not look down and grant your wishes. It actively expresses its own desires through you. You are not a human desperately trying to learn how to manifest. You are the ultimate manifester, slowly remembering your own power. Every single technique, ritual, and universal law is just a signpost pointing back to this one terrifying, beautiful truth. You are literal source energy, currently playing a highly immersive game of pretending to be human. Think about how a sleeping person effortlessly constructs entire galaxies in a dream. The characters, the weather, the cities, they all instantly materialize from the dreamer's mind. Yet, while trapped in the dream, the ultimate creator genuinely believes they are just a helpless character running around inside it. That is exactly what you are doing right now. You are divine intelligence so deeply invested in your own virtual reality simulation that you temporarily wiped your own memory. Deep in the Eastern Highlands, a dedicated ascetic spent decades torturing himself with brutal disciplines, desperate to achieve enlightenment. One dawn, while staring at the sun, he suddenly burst into uncontrollable, hysterical laughter. His confused disciples rushed over. I have spent my entire life acting like a panicked fish, desperately swimming around looking for the ocean, he wheezed, never realizing I was already breathing water. This story is the exact mirror of your own life. The desperate spiritual hunt is just part of the cosmic entertainment, the universe searching for the very thing it already is. Your desires, your manifestations, and your painful struggles are all meticulously designed to eventually trigger this grand awakening. You are not studying how to become a creator. You are waking up from a coma to realize you built the hospital. Once this reality permanently embeds itself into your nervous system, the concept of trying to manifest feels ridiculous. You stop hustling to attract things. Instead, you collapse backward into your default state, the infinite awareness from which the entire physical world is born. Your grandest dreams will pour out of you as effortlessly as a dream pours from a sleeping mind, because you finally understand they are simply the universe designing its next masterpiece using your hands. Sacred practice, the grand remembering. Find a sliver of absolute silence at either sunrise or sunset. Sit completely still, ground yourself, and softly declare with total, unshakable authority, I am pure awareness, consciously watching itself dream an entirely new reality into solid existence. Allow those words to dissolve back into the silence they came from. Understand that even this very practice is simply the universe deeply enjoying the process of watching its own spectacular movie. Conclusion, the grand remembering. Throughout the forgotten ages, mystics and ancient scholars have quietly prophesied this exact moment, the terrifying, beautiful second When the hunter finally realizes they are the prey they have been chasing, you have walked the labyrinth of manifestation all the way back to its absolute center, only to find yourself standing there, waiting for your own arrival. What you once believed was hidden, forbidden magic was actually just the devastating simplicity of this truth. You are the exact power you have been frantically praying to. The law of attraction is not a wild beast you need to tame. It is simply your own consciousness functioning as a mirror. Every single ambition that ever set your soul on fire was just the universe, knocking from the inside, begging to express itself through your hands. Every paralyzing fear you ever felt was simply the shadow of your own forgotten divinity, screaming to be remembered. Every magical coincidence that made you gasp was just your higher self winking at you through the illusion of time and space. Now, the veil is fully lifted. You finally comprehend that manifestation is never about hoarding material things. It is about clearing the blockages so your true, infinite nature can naturally project outward. The physical world has always acted as a flawless mirror of your dominant vibration, not to punish your mistakes, but to reveal your current frequency. Your heavy emotions were never enemies trying to ruin your life. They were highly sensitive tuning instruments designed to perfectly align your dial. Absorbing this reality changes absolutely everything, while simultaneously changing nothing at all. Your spiritual routines remain highly effective, but they are no longer desperate tools used to escape your current life. They become joyous celebrations of your inherent power. Vision boards stop being wish lists and become sandboxes for divine architecture. Affirmations stop being begging and transform into triumphant declarations of who you already are. Meditation upgrades from a frantic search for peace into the quiet embodiment of power. You are the sole author of your reality, not through aggressive hustling, but through the magnetic radiation of a fully awake mind. The universe does not exist to serve you your desires. It exists to watch you expand yourself into infinite joy. Let this paradigm shift rewrite your DNA. You are not a student learning how to create. You are the embodiment of creation itself. Every inhale is a quantum event. Every heartbeat is a sacred ritual. Every microsecond is the genesis of a new universe. You have forever been the very thing you were searching for. All the pain and struggle was simply the alarm clock waking you up to that fact. If this message cracked something open deep within your spirit, I challenge you to listen to this again tomorrow morning before your feet even hit the floor. Let these frequencies completely overwrite your nervous system before the chaotic noise of the world attempts to pull you back into the matrix. And if you know someone, a friend, a partner, a sibling who is desperately ready to wake up and remember who they are, send this directly to them. When you share this specific frequency, you are not just forwarding a video. You are actively triggering a collective awakening. You become the flashpoint for their evolution, which instantly generates a massive cosmic ripple that accelerates your own timeline. But before you click away, I have one final request. Drop a single word in the comments below that completely defines the exact energy you are choosing to physically embody right now. Do not write down what you hope happens. Do not write down what you are trying to feel. Type the exact frequency you are claiming in this current second. Just one word. This is your permanent energetic signature stamped onto the quantum field. This is you looking the universe in the eye and declaring, I remember. If you are ready to permanently anchor yourself in this frequency and refuse to go back to sleep, then hit subscribe. Do not just do it to follow a channel. Do it to stay highly coherent, to remain elevated, and to lock your alignment with this ultimate truth. Because here is the secret most of humanity misses. The more of us who walk around radiating this truth, the faster the physical world is forced to reflect it. We are not just isolated batteries. We are a massive, interconnected power grid of consciousness. When we synchronize our frequencies, we literally alter the trajectory of the planet. This is not the end of a video. This is the exact moment you remember who you have always been. You are the infinite cosmos actively dreaming itself into a physical body. And now, you finally know it. But if you want to aggressively accelerate this entire process, you must master the biological hardware running the software. You have to understand how your physical nervous system is either fiercely broadcasting these new frequencies or violently blocking them out of fear. The vast majority of people attempt to manifest while their bodies are trapped in chronic fight-or-flight survival mode. This is exactly why their massive dreams remain permanently trapped inside their heads. Your nervous system is the literal, physical antenna that dictates what realities you can actually tune into. I break down the exact, step-by-step biological protocols to reset this foundational hardware in my next video. Why you can't manifest anything if you don't reset your nervous system first. It is the absolute missing link required to drag everything we just discussed out of the quantum realm and drop it directly into your physical hands.